So this is some of the things we talk about. It's just some of the situations that, maybe pet peeves that we have, like a call that might have happened in a prior game during the season that, stood out, and we'd like to bring it up to each other, and then what would happen. We talk about it, and then we kind of like share those kind of thoughts. And
we also talk about, like, if we had the teams before, if we know personalities, if we know situations, because we're all sports minded, so we know, for instance, if this were Golden State and LA, right, we would know, wait a minute, Curry is going to be shooting like crazy out there. So we might discuss that, but things that as a team we kind of familiarize ourselves so that we have an advantage to rep the game. I'm sorry.
That's perfect. No, no, that's exactly how it's very spontaneous, just like this. And we're relaxed. We get ourselves in a situation where we're relaxed. We know what we have to do. It's a job. We get out there. We want to have fun with it, and we want to be on point. All right, as a crew. So we're a team. So we want to be We always try to be the best team out there.
So do you guys ref together, all three of you, for like every game?
No, not on this. On any level, the refs always are rotating. So that's part of the pregame, getting to know our partners, discussing, like I said, previous plays, and like he said, we want to be a team. We're like the third team out there. We want to serve the game the best we can, and we want to have our best performance for everybody involved.
Just like the other two teams, they want to be the best. We all want to be the best team out there.
So we're always trying to, get situations correct and adjudicate plays the way it's written in the book.
Yeah, so so I understand that, like, when you go to basketball games, maybe you miss a call or maybe you make a controversial call, that everyone in the stands starts screaming at you guys. Like, how do you handle that when everyone starts yelling?
You know what? You have to stand strong.
Yeah,
no question about it. It's hard, and maybe sometimes you might answer questions what you saw, and you repeat what you saw. But you know what? We try to make sure we make calls that we can explain, and we see it clearly. Whether someone's, whatever call we make, someone in the stands, someone is not going to like it because they're either with the visiting team or the home team.
Yes, true.
So so you never really find too many people in the middle.
Yeah, that's probably one thing that's important too.
Right. So we realize that we're never going to win.
Yeah.
We're never going to win.
Yeah, that's part of the job, and being prepared like these guys are, and for doing this, being in the game and being prepared and knowing the rules and taking it seriously all helps with that, because you can be confident that sometimes, fans, like he's saying, fans might not be shouldn't be as knowledgeable as us. We have to be more knowledgeable than the fans, so they might not be knowledgeable to a rule that we called and they just don't know.
Right.
And we have to know that as well. We want to serve the fans, but we don't necessarily answer to a fan.
Now we're human too. So if he makes a call that even we disagree with, we on the court look like we all agree with it, but maybe when we come in here, we kind of talk to each other, because we're trying to make each other better too. So we might say, you know what, I don't think his foot was out of, on the line on that play. That kind of thing. So we help each other, So we're still a crew. So even though the fans might be jumping up and down and going crazy over things, we have an internal communication too. We kind of, lead off of each other. So it's the same thing.
Teamwork game. Basketball is a teamwork game. Refereeing basketball is a teamwork game.
Yeah.
So how do you guys handle, like, when a coach is yelling at you? 'Cause I understand you can't give them tech every possession.
Yeah, everybody's communication is different, and it's very important as a referee, which we were just discussing right before you walked in, that you have to listen to coaches and hear their feedback. You have to hear what they're saying. If they have legitimate questions about plays, about situations, it's our responsibility to explain what we saw, the rule, and how we adjudicated it. And it's very important that you keep an open line of communication, as long as the coach has reasonable questions and is,
Yeah, the coaches usually have a perspective, right? So when you're on the sideline, they're on the sideline, they're looking at a play. That's one angle.
Oh, yes.
We see it from a different angle sometimes. So we share that angle with them. And they share their angle. How did you see that? And they want to know why. So that's usually a lot of the coaches, they want to understand what you saw. So we shared that with them. And that's usually most of the time that's what they ask for. but they really need to know about it then, as soon as possible.
Right.
So we try not to let that linger.
So like, what would happen, like, if you guys, one of you guys makes a call, one of you guys makes the other call, like, if someone's in the little circle onto the basket, and you think it was a charge, but the other one thinks it's a blocking foul, like, what would happen, like, how would the call be decided if you guys both called different things?
Good question.
Great question.
Great question. So what we're doing now is we have a pregame. And in our pregame, we discuss that. We discuss what might happen if there's a double whistle. We might discuss what might happen if you have a call and I have a different call. We discuss it now, so that if it does happen on the court, we kind of have a sense of how we're going to handle it. And an example being, a player's driving to the basket, right? He gets a charge or he gets blocked, and two of us blow the whistle. In our pregame, we may have discussed, if a player drives to the basket and he gets contact, you take the call. So we already knew before we even went out there that we call it the center official or the lead official, we already knew he was going to own the call. So we discussed that amongst ourselves so that when we do go out there, it's already in our mind to go, so we're not going at each other, you know, that kind of thing. The other thing is, a lot of people don't know, but you can have two calls. You can have two calls on a play. And what we try to do as a team is discuss it so we don't have two calls. It's in the rule book. You know, you can't, but you know, I just.
Yeah, and part of, and how we do that is we try to figure out which call or which play happened first.
Okay. Also, I understand if you want to be a player, you have to practice and you have to work hard. But like, how do you become a ref? Like, what kind of work do you have to do to become a ref? Because I know you have to know a lot about the game.
Yeah, it's good to be an ex-player. It's good to be an ex-player, and then yeah, it does make it. There is an adjustment you have to make to get behind the whistle, and as opposed to being a spectator, or player, and then going to become an official, or a spectator and then official. But what does it go? You go to classes, they're local classes. They're what they call boards, referee boards, all over the country. In your area, there's usually a board, or there's a nearby board that you can reach out to, and they have training. Some are paid, some are not. You have to pay for the training. Some of them are just like, learning the rules and then getting out there and doing games.
Yeah, it's a mix of rule book. You have to know the rule book, right? You have to take a test, an examination. Every year we have to take a test, an examination. Whether you have to go through the schooling, learn the rule book, take the test, pass that, and then you go on the court for training within your board classes. And every year we have to pass a 75 question, right?
Yeah, it's like 80.
80.
Yeah, 80.
Maybe it's 100, 75 to 100 question exam.
No, I'm sorry. It's 50 question. I think it's 50 questions. You got to get like an 80 to pass or something like that.
Right.
I just learned that you guys stretch before games. Like, why do you stretch before games?
Why do you stretch before a game? The
Yeah.
same reason player does. We gotta run just like players.
Yeah.
Remember every year, right? Every year as referees, we get 1 year older,
Yep.
another year older.
Yep.
But a college age player,
Yep.
same age, right?
Mhm.
High school kids, same age. Now when they graduate, they're out of high school.
Mhm.
But all the college and high school kids stay the same age. But every year an official gets older. It's very important that we maintain our ability to move on the court, to be as, flexible. I think flexibility as you get older is the primary one. We're not out there pumping weight anymore. But you have to be, your feet and your body, need to be prepared for a season and for the grind. I know as players, it's not as much for you because players are 16, 17, 18 years old. Your body bounces quick. But every year an official gets older, and and the players stay the same age. It's very important. Summertime's a big time to get in the gym and
Work out.
yeah, it's a primary.
Right. And remember, the players are going to get a substitution from time to time, right? So they're going to get to sit for a while and come back in the game and sit for a while. The official does not get a substitution. We're running on every play. Every time the ball goes, the clock is running, we're running. So we have to constantly be ready to be in shape. I had a game years and years ago, a long time ago, and I ruptured my Achilles tendon during the game. I got hurt during the game. And what I realized is that I didn't stretch enough before that game. Actually, I had just come back from Hawaii. I was on a trip. And I just really kind of ran in the gym and did the game. But my body wasn't prepared. So anything you do, if you play softball, if you run, whatever you do, it's always good to kind of stretch. Nowadays, you can go on and Google how to stretch, you know, so that you're doing it right. And that way your body is ready.
Yeah.
You'll understand much better in about 10-15 minutes why we stretch.
What have you been told the reason why you stretch?
To get loose, like,
Okay.
and to not get injured.
That's
it.
that's actually the primary reason why.
Yeah.
I think we all stretch is that we want to avoid the injuries.
Mhm.
Because you go out there and you see even baseball players pull a hammy, and they might have stretched, but they might not have stretched enough.
So do you guys get tired during games in the morning?
I wouldn't say, it depends. I'm the kind of person that as the game goes on, I get stronger. You know, I might not be as strong when I begin, but as the game goes on, I really get stronger. So getting tired is not, I would say, not even an option, because you have to stay focused. So for me, it works that I pace myself so that by the second half, I'm really ready.
Generally not, because
Yeah,
we're in condition.
Right.
We're conditioned to finish a game.
It's
Do a game, maybe a couple games in a row or whatever, but we're conditioned to make sure we can make
That's part
make
of
it through a
stretching,
game.
taking
Yeah.
care of your body,
Right.
and more so than the physical aspect is you have to stay mentally sharp as a referee.
Yeah.
It's much more concentration and knowing what to look at. We view the games differently as a coach, as a spectator, as an organizer, as a TV person. Our angles and our responsibilities of what we're looking at are much different, and that's probably just as important as staying physically prepared. Is you have to keep mentally prepared.
And so, basically, do you guys have designated spots you have to be at? Like, is one person on one side, like one person with a baseline? Do you guys just go around wherever?
Yes, there are designated
There's a
spots.
system
Yeah,
in
there's a
place.
system, exactly. Yeah, no, as you've seen them, there's rotations, there's switching that goes on, and
And each referee is looking at a certain area, right?
Right.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
referee can't see the whole court, so each referee is viewing a certain area in their position.
most games now are 3-man, so there's a 3-man rotation versus 2-man. Some games are just two officials. So so there are systems for each one.
If it would happen that during a game you would be somewhere on the court and it gets in the way of what's happening on the court, like a player runs into you, like what would happen? Like, what call would that be?
Well, if the ball hits you, you're part of the playing surface.
Mhm.
So wherever it bounces, if it bounces out of bounds, it stays in bounds.
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
So if it bounces off you, then
goes out of bounds,
yeah,
then
who's
it's
that
the
out?
last person that touched,
Oh.
not you. So if it touches off, if White touched it, White throws it against my leg, goes out of bounds, then it'll be off of White.
So you guys are basically like on the court.
Yeah, we're objects on the court.
Yeah.
Part of the
Yeah.
court.
Yeah, part of
Ball
it.
touches us on the court, it's
Yeah.
live ball.